Okay, this is not a card trick tutorial. In an earlier video, I mentioned that I have been doing a lot of kid shows this last summer and making some new stuff for my kid shows. And those of you that do kid shows, I promise you I'd show you some of these things that I think are pretty cool. You might want to use them or adapt them yourself. If you're not into kid shows, this video probably won't apply to you, but that's okay. There's a lot of us out there that do. So I made some stuff, and all the stuff that I made to add to my birthday party and family show, I pretty much made out of junk from garage, dollar store, and thrift stores. And it was really fun to do and ended up pretty cool. So years ago, I always wanted to have like a lie detector. You know, the lie detector trick, you can buy them, but they're really expensive. And I always thought it's a gadget the kids hold, or I made it into a helmet that they wear and had blinking lights on it. And when they don't tell the truth, it beeps or blinks or whatever. And there's a lot of funny byplay you can do with that. And so I actually made a helmet. I'll show a picture of it here on the screen, but I went to Goodwill and bought an old baseball helmet, painted it purple, put some lights on it, all kinds of things. But I didn't like it. I performed it used it two or three times, but it was clumsy, it was hard to pack, and I had a lot of stuff to carry. And it was fragile, stuff would break off of it. So I decided, let's try something different. So I decided, let's make the lie detector into something that travels easier and packs kind of flat, self-contained, basically. And I ended up with this. I call it the hypersonic fibulometer truth detector. Now, I don't call it a lie detector. I call it a truth detector. I think that's a little more friendly. And so this is what I made. Now, what is this? This is just a prop that will make a noise when the child supposedly isn't telling the truth. And there's a lot of funny things you can do with that. So we bring the child up and say, let's give it a test and give me the right answer. And when you say, what's 2 plus 2? And they say 4, a pleasant noise goes off. In this case, it's a doorbell alarm that goes off. Now give me the wrong answer and we'll see what happens. What's 2 plus 2? And they say 5, and all of a sudden they'll hear a horrible noise, a buzzer or whatever. By the way, it's amazing how hard it is to find remote control buzzers that I liked. I even tried using my iPad at one point. I did that in one show where I used the iPad as a remote control. It was just awkward, and it was okay, but they couldn't hear it as well. So I finally ended up with this. And what I have here on this side, this is the side they see when I bring it out, is the truth detector. So we turn it on, usually play some music when it's on, and turning it on, I'm simply turning on these lights. Now you probably can't see those as well. It's pretty bright. I'll turn the light off for a second. I'm gonna go in the dark so you can see what this looks like. So these kind of light up. And so it just looks like something's happening. In my music, I'll maybe have some sound effects playing. And then you say, okay, what's 2 plus 2? 4. And then you'll hear a pleasant noise. If it's 2 is 5. Oh, that's the wrong noise. Okay, now we're ready to go. You say, well, are you having a good time? They'll say yes. And all of a sudden, oh, you're not having a good time? There's all kinds of funny questions you can ask kids. I ask them, are you married? And they'll say, no. And well, I'm sorry, are you happily married? Anyway, there's a whole thing to that. The idea here is I made this out of junk. Let me turn on the lights here, show you what I did. So basically, again, this is just stuff. This panel here is something I made with AI. I just said to Leonardo.ai, make me a bunch of gears and pulleys, and I kind of gave it a prompt that made it look cartoonish. Then I took those and put them on a Photoshop document. I went down and had it printed out on a big piece of paper, had it laminated so it's clear and shiny and clean. I can wipe it off. I poked holes in it, and then I put these grommets, cut holes in this old suitcase that I got at the Goodwill or a garage sale years ago somewhere. Inside, I stuck with duct tape Christmas tree lights right up against these holes. And this right here is the pack of Christmas tree lights. I made a little pocket here on the side out of basically a card box, and because I have to be able to get to it to change batteries. And then I can just turn it on and turn it off. There we go. It's just one of those cycling Christmas light things. And then this is an old spring. Actually, this is off of a spiral notebook. The spring, that's I took it and stretched it out, spray painted it gold. This is a piece of plumbing that was in my garage. And when I take this off, put it inside the box, because this opens up and I can carry it self-contained. When I get there, I go like this, so it has some dimension. I have this because I don't want it just to be here. I want something that plays big and looks big and has some kind of texture to it. And that's all it is. So what about the beeping and the buzzing? Well, this is kind of funny, but like I said, it's really hard to find things that make the right noise. So I went to Harbor Freight and Tool. I don't know if you have those where you live. I think it was like $7 for a remote doorbell chime. Battery operated remote doorbell chime. So I keep that behind this thing. I did have it attached, but it's just easier just to keep it. Looks like this. Put it here. Looks like this. I spray painted it gold because at one point it was visible. Doesn't matter now. And it's got a little remote on it, right? And when you press the button, that means it got the right answer, right? So what's 2 plus 2? They say 4. All right. That way they know what it sounds like when they tell the truth. But if they say the wrong thing, then we have this. Now forgive me, because let me tell you, buzzers are hard to find. But this is what we got. What's 2 plus 2? 5? Oh, sorry. That's not the right answer. Yes, that was the buzzer. I decided to use the old fart machine. That's what this is right here. And each buzzer sounds different. And it gets a lot of laughs, as you can imagine. So this is my lie detector, truth detector. Get the right answer. All right. Tommy, are you having a good time? Yeah. Oh, really? Are you sure? Anyway, that is the way the truth detector works. Made from junk, made from just stuff, real cheap to make. And so, just a fun thing. It's like more of a sight gag than a magic trick, but that's what your kids show needs a lot of. The other thing that I did, and I wanted to make this, 20 years ago, without exaggerating. I've been wanting to make this and never got around to it. Because I often do like bake a cake in a Dove pan where I'll put, I'll use the ethereal salt. And so I'll be adding salt. I say, don't want to put too much salt in while I'm talking. I end up putting like almost a whole thing of salt in because it's an ethereal salt shaker. And then I'll put in I'll take an egg. It's a real egg, but it's blown. So that way it cracks. Put it in there, accidentally put all the shells in there. Go, oops, well, that's kind of messy. Milk pitcher. I do a joke about flour and I put an actual flour and there's paper flour in there. Anyway, the idea is I'm making a mess in this pan. They can't see it, and but it looks like there's milk and salt and stuff in it, and it's really basically empty. And I always thought, wouldn't it be nice if I could I used to just kind of go, ooh, that tastes terrible. So wouldn't it be nice if I could stir it with a spoon and have a convincer? So this is what I did. I call it the gooey spoon. And so I took a wooden spoon, and so after I put all my ingredients in my Dove pan, I mix it up and say, now, ooh, let's see. And then I go like this and go, it doesn't look quite right. And then I can put my spoon away. That's all this does. It's just a sight gag. And then, of course, I put my lid on, say the magic words, wave the magic wand, whatever they're doing, and we produce a birthday cake out of the Dove pan. So all that to say, for years I thought about this gooey spoon idea. Had it in my head how it should work, and so I finally made one, and that's what this is. I'm going to show it to you up close. So basically, this is not a wooden spoon because those are hard to find. It's a plastic spoon from the dollar store. I painted to look like wood, painted it brown, and then on this side I took a gob of construction adhesive, which is white. And I just put it in there and kind of carved it out the shape I wanted it. I took another bit of construction glue and I squeezed it onto some wax paper. I made a few of them because I wanted just the right kind of drip, and that's what this is. And I chose this one, and so what I did was I stuck it here, took some white, this is white duct tape as a hinge like this, and so I end up with this. When I pull it out, it ends up being like this. Now since it's hinged, I can go like this and show my spoon like this, and I go to stir it. You can just, like if you bake a cake in a hat or do something that's, like that, all you gotta do is give it a stir. And then when you take it out, just turn it out like this, and it looks like you've made a mess in your hat or in your Dove pan. And it's really just this little rubbery gooey spoon. So that cost me $1, maybe $2 if I count the glue and the duct tape and all that stuff. And it was fun to make. I originally wanted the drip to go down this way, but I liked it to go this way because it gives me a longer drip. So I had to fold the length of the spoon. Super easy to do. Go like this, give it a spin, pull it out. You got a gooey spoon. I don't know if anybody's ever commercially made these, but I've thought about it, except I don't want to. I don't want to make a bunch of them. So you guys make them and have fun with them. So that was the lie detector and the gooey spoon. The other one I had, oh, this is great. So this is not something I made, this is something I bought. And if you do kid shows, I highly recommend Amaze Wands. I think I'll put a link on the thing. I'm not affiliated with them, or I don't make any money off of this. But this is just a great trick to do. And you should be familiar with that if you do kid shows. Sometimes they used to call it the nested wands. But Danny Orleans made this version where the wands are quite colorful. So you say, there's only one wand in the world like this, and when you give it to the kid, he has the wand, and then you have another one, and then they multiply, and you end up with like 5 different wands, all different colors, and go, something's gone wrong. This is not the right wand. And then on the last wand is a breakaway wand. Say, oh, we'll use this one. All we got to do is wave the magic wand, and of course it wobbles instead of waves, and go, this isn't right. Something's gone wrong. So it's a funny bit. It's a funny trick. Kids love it. They're holding the assistant, the volunteer is got wands under his arms and holding them in his hands or whatever under his neck, and it just looks funny. But what I did was I added another trick, again, didn't make this up, to end this. So we end up with a broken one, we end up with a breakaway wand. The trick's not going to work. We need a wand that works. So I just say, you know what? The wands aren't working out. So let's just use my little wand. And that's one I carry in this little bag. I like to use this one because it's so small and it's just easier to work with. So let's just use this one. And then I bring this wand out of my bag like this. We're just going to use the little wand, okay? And that's this one right here. This one should work nice and powerful. And then we go on with our trick. Now, this is what I want to show you. They sell these, I believe they still sell these. They sell lots of props like this that work on the same principle. The broomstick, there's a ladder, there's a shovel, the McDonald's straw. I made a couple of those one time. That's easy to make because you just put a yellow stripe electrical tape and a red stripe of electrical tape. You can have a big McDonald's straw. And I used to do a bit where I first came out to do this show. I said, oh, I'm sorry, I'm late. I stopped at McDonald's. I was so hungry. And I'm holding a McDonald's bag, and I say, I ordered a large Coke, but they gave me the small one, and so I bring out a small Coke. But at least they gave me the big straw, and then I pull out of the little bag this giant straw. So I think it's a funny gag for kids. But this time I made a wand, and then if you don't know already what this object is, it is the plastic cover that goes on your shower curtain rod. If you've got a shower curtain rod where the rings are and it's metal, people like that to be plastic or to be covered for whatever reason, and that's what this is. It's a shower curtain rod cover. And what's great about them is that, like at Home Depot, where I got this one, they're $4.97. So $5 at or Lowe's or wherever you want to go, and you can make one of these. I just took some blue painter's tape, taped off my white ends because that's the original color of this thing. Took some glossy black spray paint, put several coats of black on this, and I got a wand, and it's an amazing trick. The bad thing is they don't last forever. You do a lot of shows, they start to get kind of banged up. This one's I did a few shows this summer with this, and this one's getting a little bit banged up, but hey, for $5 I'll make another one or make a couple of them, and it's great. It's good to go. So anyway, that's kind of some of the stuff I did this summer. The wands, the gooey spoon, and the truth detector. And then, just as a side note, my wife's really good at thrift store shopping. She finds lots of things. A lot of like my table covers and curtains and stuff like that come from there. But she found this thing that I think is so great, because I do the cut and restored rope, and at one point in the trick, I let the child cut the rope. One point in the trip, they cut the rope with their pretend scissors. They go like this, and the rope cuts, which has always been a good thing to do. But she found these, and I changed the way I do that trick. And aren't these great? Yeah. I don't know. They were in a thrift store. I think she paid 10 or 15 bucks for this, and they're just funny. So when we're doing the cut and restore rope, and I pretend like it's not working, I was just cutting the rope wrong. Here, grab the pair of scissors behind the table over there. And it's so funny when the child comes out with this, and I say, please don't run with those, whatever you do. And then when they go like this, and the rope actually cuts, it's funny, it's better, it's big. With kid shows, anything you can do that's bigger than life, just makes it more fun, more entertaining. And the secret to a kid's show, magic show, is not to not only be amazing, it's more important to be fun, funny, and make sure they're laughing and having a good time. And so that's what we did this summer with all these fun stuff. That added to all the classic magic, Chinese linking rings and the sponge balls and the Professor's Nightmares and the dove pens and tricky bottles or crazy crayon, confusing crayons, and let's see what else, all kinds of stuff that you can make a really fun kid show by supplementing it with some of these homemade things, props that look really fun and are fun. Hope that helps you with your kid show ideas.